Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is host of WWE's This Is Awesome, a.k.a. WWE Superstar, Greg Miller.
Hello, Blessing. How are you?
Doing good, Greg. How are you doing this morning?
Good. Can't complain. You know? Yeah, got
Easy
it.
drive in, easy morning?
Easy morning, as I told you when I got here. Well, first off, I came around the corner and saw you hosting. I was like, all right, well, I texted Tim for no reason, telling him I was going to be late because I had to help Jen at the house. But everything's fine. Everything's good. I mean, you wake up the day after seeing the hierarchy of power in the DCEU change one more time with the Flash. You're going to be feeling pretty good.
Where can people hear about that?
You're going to hear about it on, of course, DCEU in review, posting, I think, on Friday, right? So you can have it after you watch it on the show. Hold on, I'm looking at our calendar here.
There you go.
Posting on Friday.
There you go. Get hyped for that. I watched that movie too. I don't know how much I can say, but I had a fun time.
They just asked us not to spoil it. I think you can review it and say what you thought, but I mean, just don't be like, yo, at the end, it turns out he's a chicken.
Okay, cool. Thank God, because I did put a score on it on Letterboxd. Not enough people follow me on Letterboxd. So
no, you're fine with that. That's totally
over there all the time.
Reviews are out for Flash. They were like, just don't spoil it.
Pretty good movie. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. I had a really fun time during that movie. It's funny because I watched the Flashpoint animated movie a long time ago, and I think I forgot that I watched that movie.
Sure. So you're like, watching this seems familiar.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, I kind of like where this is going. And I'm like, oh, wait, this is just that. Like, oh man, this is actually a really, really neat way of doing it. By the time I got to the end of it, I thought they did that animated movie justice. I thought they did that story, no pun intended. They did it justice, and so I was very happy with it.
You're gonna have a banger DCEU in review, I think, when we get there. Of course, as we near the end of DCEU in review before we move to DCU in review.
Now, how are you feeling? Because of course, we went to Summer Game Fest. We've reacted to a billion different showcases. I had yesterday off.
I can summarize this in one sentence. Today, me, Jen, and Ben are cuddling on the couch as we do, watching an episode of Bluey while Ben has his milk. And I leaned over to Jen and I was like, can you believe it's only Tuesday? And she goes, that's because you didn't have a weekend and it's Wednesday. I was like, right.
All day yesterday, I was like, man, I can't believe I only have 2 days left in the week. All day yesterday, I thought it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fathom that I had 3 days
welcome
to
welcome to as real as it's going to get, I guess, but a real E3. You know what I mean? Because that is the telltale sign of E3. When you wake up and you're like, I just do what's on the calendar, but I don't pay attention to the day, and nothing makes sense.
Yesterday, I messaged you. I could have sworn there was a mistake on the calendar because I saw PS Love You was supposed to record on Thursday. And I was like, didn't we cancel that? And you're like, that was last week. And I was like, oh, I totally thought there was no PS Love You this week.
We're doing PS Love You
look forward to PS Love You this week.
We can talk about all sorts of cool stuff.
Cool. Is there anything you want to talk about in terms of games that you saw at Summer Game Fest?
I have a bunch of indies still that I haven't gotten through my thing. Now, granted, I rank them in priority because, of course, there's a Gamescast up right now, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, where you can go listen to that, or Gamescast podcast feeds. And even yesterday, me and Tim led off with some mobile games we played to talk about at SGF. But I still have stuff up my sleeve for SGF. I still want to get into, God dang it.
You have time now to throw one in here.
Oh, do I?
No, we're going to talk about Armored Core 6, which is one of the things we saw at Summer Game Fest.
They clicked on it, man. They're here, and they're like, oh, I want that summer. I want that.
So I like what you and Tim did yesterday. Where it was one from each. So we can do that again.
I'm opening my doc. My little thing here of a thing. It was linked in the last one. Here it is. Hold on, everybody. Why is it that far back? Why would it be there?
Holding.
Everybody hold. I have one just called SGF. I'm assuming that's going to be it. There it is. Nailed it. Crushed it. Oh, but I don't know my order of what I did. Well, I'm saying though. Well, are we trying to do some of these on PS I Love You? You think?
I mean, I don't really have much left for PS Love You.
Okay, then forget it. Then just do it here. I'm looking through my list here of what I haven't talked about that I would like to talk about. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, you know and I know it. There's a type of game that appeals to Greg Miller. And as soon as I saw the trailer for Simpler Times in the Day of the Devs presentation, I was like, that is going to be a Greg Miller-ass game. And of course, playing it, it's Greg Miller-ass game. I'm sure Barrett's working on getting you the trailer right now for B-roll. It is a first-person game. You are in your childhood bedroom.
Of course.
You are packing up your stuff and reliving some memories. It was an interesting one, right? Of like, you have, of course, a scrapbook that has notes in it. And it's like those notes are hinting at greater things that have happened in your life, but then it also acts as your task list, your quest log of like what you need to do, of like packing up your room, getting your stuff ready. As you're putting stuff away, you're remembering, your mother and things your dad said and these stuffed animals. And once you put it, it's kind of like a first person unpacking, at least in this one level, because it is, I did talk to them. They said like there are going to be 4 seasons, 4 memories, and 4 music albums. So it's going to be like 4 different places you're in or whatever. And there are going to be different activities in every season. So it won't always be unpacking. But for me, it was very much unpacking of like you're picking your stuff up, you're putting your stuff in there. Once you've gotten all the collectibles for that box, like books or toys, that box gets sealed up and put away and kind of gives you the hint, okay, move on, do this. But there's a record player that you're moving it around. You put on the different records to move to different seasons and things like that. I'm interested to see what the fuck they did to this mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of talk about the dad.
Yeah.
What's up with this fucking mom? You know what I mean? Where did she go? What's going on with that? Early 2024. No, actually, I'm sorry. I was looking at my 8 notes. I don't have a date on that, and I forget. I wasn't paying attention to the trailer if it said there at the end. But I would assume 2024.
It just said a wish list on Steam today.
Okay. Well, it's an indie, so they'll say 2024. Come on, 2026, but whatever.
Cool.
But I enjoyed that one, and I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. The one, excuse me, that I'll bring to the table is Islands of Insight. You talk about knowing what a Greg game is.
Yeah.
This is what I would describe as, man, you look at the premise of this, and this is such a blessing game, and I'm sure that's why you booked me for it, because it is this open world puzzle game, right? Where it is no combat, you're going around this world, first person, and you're just solving a world full of puzzles. And that's
a world of puzzles.
And for me, as somebody who loves games like The Witness, I love games like Manifold Garden. I'm very much looking forward to Viewfinder. A big Portal fan. I'm down to hang out and just solve puzzles, right?
Yeah.
Especially in like this open world exploratory.
That's
sort
why
of,
they call you
way.
Puzzle Poppy.
Exactly. Even
Are
though
you
we're now
getting
the
lower?
new Puzzle Poppies. Am I getting lower? Like my chair?
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
changing.
coming down.
I mean,
I'm way too high compared to you. Mike broke one, remember? So
Yeah.
like that.
No, this is one with the ring, so I think we're good.
Okay.
But yeah, on paper, everything about it seems like my kind of game.
Uh-oh.
During the preview, this was the one that I described on Gamescast as I had one bad preview.
Oh no!
This was it.
Puzzle Poppy, no!
And who knows? Maybe the final game comes out and it comes together, but they describe it as all these things. The way that I even internalized it as they're describing this game was, think of like Zelda if it was just Korok seeds, where you're going through, you see a thing and you solve it, and you see another thing and you solve it, and you're like, you're just doing puzzles in this open world in this open world format.
Okay, that sounds good so far.
It sounds good so far. My problem is that they kept like saying things where I'm like, and where I would have follow-up questions, and they're like, we don't have the answer for you today. Like, come back later.
Oh, I hate
where
previews.
As they're walking me through, one, they're doing the thing where they're doing like commentary where they're acting like they've not done this demo a billion times.
What's that over there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you should check it out, Bill. All right, I'll see. Anything can happen in our Warrior game.
Exactly, where it's the person playing the
Is this the
demo.
same game? I looked away and now it's Immortals Phoenix Rising.
And that's the other thing. Yeah, I got a lot of Immortals Phoenix Rising vibes from it. But it was the person playing the game, and then the person actually like commentating, giving the demo, and it was, what's this around the corner? Oh, whoa, and like them trying to act surprised, and me being like, this is my last demo of the event. I know you've given this demo a million times, and just me not being able to buy into the gimmick, especially because it was the awkward thing of it was me and one other like journalist or media person doing the demo as well. Them trying to be like, oh yeah, like you guys can join in too if you see the thing that we're looking for, and I'm sitting there like, the answer's obviously right there. I can see the blue orb that you're looking for. Yeah, I'm not a child here. This isn't Dora the Explorer. But like there was a part in the game where in the walkthrough where they show like, we just leveled up to level 7, and I ask, what does the leveling system do? Like, how does that impact the gameplay?
We're not prepared to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it at a different time. All right, what does they mentioned a campaign. Oh, what's the story? Like, how does the campaign affect how you play? Is the campaign like, is it a linear path through the world? Does it take you through the open world stuff? We're not talking about that at this time. There is multiplayer in the game. Hey, like, how does the multiplayer work? And they would talk about all these disparate elements of the game and not really talk about how they work together in a way where I don't understand why this game is multiplayer. I don't understand why this game has leveling. I don't understand how a story is supposed to impact the game or why I should care about a story whatsoever. Yeah. It seems like a hodgepodge of ideas that are inspired by a bunch of different things, like maybe a Zelda or Immortals Phoenix Rising, or even like a The Witness and something like that. A lot of things that speak near and dear to me. But yeah, the way in which it feels like just like idea overload. Hey, let's just throw all these things in here just because people like multiplayer, and multiplayer is a buzzword that's going to work on people. And it didn't feel like they had an actual clear, concise vision of what they actually wanted the game to be. And so it's one that I'm going to keep my eye on to see if it releases.
When you get more information about it,
yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but from the way they gave that demo, I was very much like,
but were the puzzles cool?
They're fine. That's the other thing is that some of the puzzles were cool in the sense of you get like there are a bunch of orbs in the sky.
Some orbs up there.
See if you can find the position to stand in to then like get the orbs to align in the way that'll then solve the puzzle for you, right? There's cool things like that. There are also other puzzles that are just straight up like mahjong type cool, you're gonna slide these things in an order, and it's like just a literal puzzle, right? Like a literal, almost like a jigsaw thing that you're doing. And that stuff I don't find that's fun. That stuff looked kind of lame to me,
Okay.
especially for this first person 3D world that you're exploring. But yeah, like there's Sky Islands also. Like there's a lot of verticality to the world.
Sure,
You're like
familiar.
flying through the place, right? Like I'm not saying they got that from Zelda, but it is familiar. But yeah, I think my other thing too is that the art style of it didn't speak to me as well. It looked so generic in the art style. It reminds me a bit of Immortals Phoenix Rising, but even more generic than that, right? Like it is. I cannot get a sense of what I'm supposed to feel while watching / playing this game. Like, what is this trying to be? It didn't feel like it had a really good, solid vision yet, and so I'm hoping it comes together. I'm hoping that I'm wrong about it and it comes out and blows me away. But as of now, I'm not as hyped for it as I should be, because this is my kind of game.
As you know, I'm probably the biggest fan in the office of this game. I took an Armored Core 6 demo, and at the end of that, they did actually accidentally get beat by the boss. And it was funny to see them all break and be like, well, that wasn't supposed to happen, but you get the point. Let's go on.
Oh, yeah. Well, Greg, speaking of Armored Core 6, today's stories include our Armored Core 6 impressions, everything from that Xbox Extended Showcase and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code Kinda Funny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, head to kindafunny.com/KFGD to write in with your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, patreon.com/kindafunny will get you the show ad-free plus a bevy of bonus content. Housekeeping for you. It's that time again. Join Mike, Nick, James, and Elyse for another 90s action movie watch-along this Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. That's tonight. They'll be watching the 1990 Arnold Schwarzenegger classic, Total Recall. Jump on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames at 7:30 Pacific time this Wednesday to watch along with them. Also, Nick forced James and Elyse on today's Kinda Funny podcast, which is now the Disaster Cast. Check it out on youtube.com/kindafunny.
Take one afternoon off. You take one afternoon off. They do this to you.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh my God, look at all these graphics.
And look at all them.
Cow and a tornado.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. Nick doesn't think through his bits. He's just so excited to excite himself.
God. So go check that out, of course, youtube.com/kindafunny. There's a buy two, get one free this week on our Rooster Teeth store with the code KFSUMMER at checkout. So go over to our Rooster Teeth store, use KFSUMMER to get a buy two, get one free. And then
remember, of course, for confusion's sakes, kindafunny.com/store goes to our brand new store with our brand new merch. And then you have to go to the Rooster Teeth store, unless I'm talking out of turn.
No, I think you're right. That's right.
Okay. Then you have to go to the Rooster Teeth store to get this deal and get all that stuff cloned out. No, I'm correct. Nailed it.
And
then merch looks so good. I wear those Kinda Funny slides all the time. On the store.
Dude, I love the slide so much.
Yeah.
And then on YouTube and the live stream, there's going to be a 30-minute post show where Mike comes in and talks to us KFGD hosts about your YouTube Super Chat questions. So stay tuned after the handshake for that. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Casey Andrew, Delaney Twining, and James Hastings. Today, we're brought to you by Amazon Gaming, Honey, and Rocket Money. But
all right,
tell
stop
you
right there
about that later.
As you know, a lot of people, they don't want you to show you how the sausage gets made. Two things. Number one, I think it's time we remove the Snowbike Mike Super Chat thing from housekeeping. You know that's happening, right? That seems like it's a standard thing. And this isn't a critique on you. It's just us really talking about the show. I was going to hold that until this. Is it James Hastings or James Hastings? I feel like for a decade we've said Hastings. Right? And
maybe
then
that's a typo.
The past 2 months, there's been just James Hastings. And so I thought first month, okay, typo. Second month, still James Hastings. Is there a James Hastings and a James Hastings?
Do they have to fight?
No, because they're different names. Then we don't have to worry about it.
James, if you're in chat or if you're listening or watching, please let us know. Kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Because it does say Hastings, and I said Hastings because I thought that was a typo.
Well, I'm saying
so I'm
that
right
they
there
would
with
have
you.
to fight to prove which last name is superior.
I'm opening up.
James on James action. I'm with you, Barrett. Make them fight. Let them
now, in here, there's an interesting thing. Drop kick Tondo says, wasn't it James? Oh no, that's not even right. No, that's what we're talking about. That's exactly the conversation we're having. Ah, shit, it's already gone. Somebody brought up James Davis makes. Are we confusing that? I don't know. Maybe. You know, I don't know. I'm looking at old things. You go on to your show now. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to think about the Snow White Mike / Andy Cortez post show thing, right? Of maybe I can put that into the rigmarole, but then that makes the rigmarole even longer. I feel like it's already.
I don't think
long.
we need to worry about it.
No?
I think it's like one of those things. All right, so here we go. Here we go.
I guess we could wrap with it. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. We're gonna say that in it. So right now I'm in March 2023, and in March 2023 it was in fact James Hastings. Then April 2023 it becomes James Hastings. Then it's James Hastings from there on out. So the question then becomes, did James Hastings make a typo? And it goes beyond that. March, February, January, it is James Hastings.
Okay.
Did he make
going back and forth?
Did he make a typo many years ago? And finally was like, you know what, I'll go to Patreon to correct this and change it.
It's like Delaney Twining, where we were calling him Twinning for so long. And
well, that was just us. That was us. Shout out to Delaney. Shout out to Delaney for coming to be like, yo, it's actually Twining.
Yeah, eventually Delaney was like, I'm going to correct this.
Yo, you notice how there's only one N. So that wouldn't be twinning, you idiots. And we're like, oh, yeah, that's how words work. That's how, yeah.
There's no way that was always one N. Hold on. Wow.
No, it was always
one N?
We say something once and no one says anything. Like, all right, off to the thing we go.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll figure
this
it out.
This is how much we care about you, patrons. You know what I mean? You come over there, you support us. We want to say your name right, and then we will waste the show wondering if you changed your name. I'm going to the back end to find Mr. Hastings or Hastings.
He's going to the back end. Well,
okay, in the back end, it is in fact Hastings.
Oh.
So at some point, we jump the shark.
I bet it's Hastings. I bet the real thing is Hastings, and Hastings is a typo. Unless maybe he got married to a Jenna Hastings.
Good point. That's a great point.
I don't think that's how it works.
No? Maybe he took her last name, or their last name, or his last name.
I have the email to James, and we're going to email him right now live on the show.
Okay. As we do that, let me take you to the Roper Report. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with our number 1. This last weekend was Summer Game Fest. We saw a lot of games. One of those games was Armored Core 6 Fires with Rubicon. We got a preview roundup for you. I'm going to give you previews from both Polygon and from IGN, but then me and Greg will tell you about our time with it because we both got to see Armored Core 6. What's up, Greg?
To James Hastings, CC Joey Noel. I'm also sending it. Subject line, your name, all caps. Subject body. Hey, dude, is it Hastings or Hastings? Why haven't you corrected us, Greg? Send. Done. That's how you get work done around here.
There you go. All right, let's start off with Ana Diaz from Polygon, who titled their preview, Armored Core 6 wants you to tinker your way through toughness. The preview reads like this. Armored Core 6 is a mech action game that blends third-person shooting with close-range combat. While Goooal has previously asserted that this game will not just be Elden Ring with mechs, it'll bring the studio's characteristic emphasis on overcoming tough combat. In his presentation, Goooal articulated 3 aspects key to the game: 3D level design with a sense of scale, assembly and battle design, customizing mechs, and experiencing a sense of accomplishment through overcoming difficulties. Quote, our aim is to create a new mech action by the current From Software, which combines the fundamental fan aspect of the Armored Core series with the design philosophy of recent From Software games, Ogura said via a translator. The developers say they want Armored Core 6 to be a challenging game, and players will have various tools at their disposal to overcome its challenges. One way to deal with a hard enemy could be using a search function to scan it and formulate a plan. However, knowing where an adversary lies might not give you the edge you need to win. When the player dies and returns to a checkpoint, a menu pops up offering the option to tweak their mech to their liking. Of course, there's more to Honest Preview, but you can check that out over on Polygon. And while you do that, I'm going to hop over to Kat Bailey at IGN, who titles her preview. From Software used this blank check to make more Armored Core, and I couldn't be happier. It reads like this. The demo, shown at Summer Game Fest, had the essential DNA of the series down to the grim industrial megastructures and the emphasis on energy management, and many of the demo's crucial elements will be familiar to longtime fans of the series. The AC shown has a gun in one hand, an energy sword in the other, and missiles on both shoulders. Success is predicated on managing such disparate elements as heat dissipation and energy generation to create a mech that can take on all comers. Completing a mission, Armored Core 6 is mission-based rather than open world, earns you money to buy parts that can be used to upgrade your mech. The demo ends with a glimpse of one of Armored Core 6's fierce boss fights, a monstrous Roomba known as the Smart Cleaner that waves heated grinder arms and spews lava. Little is shown of this fight, but From Software has claimed that boss fights are a highlight of the game. So we'll have to see whether they take any cues from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which was designed by Armored Core 6 director Masaru Yamamura. Even if it does, though, I seriously doubt that Armored Core 6 will win over the newly minted Soulsborne fans who loved Elden Ring. This is an Armored Core game for Armored Core fans, the type of people who want to sit around tinkering with their fantasy mech, trying to find the right build for all occasions. Now, Greg, both me and you sat in a theater. We watched a presentation. We watched a gameplay demo of Armored Core 6. You're somebody who I wouldn't expect to be a Armored Core person. How did how did the Armored Core 6
Do I need to take you back to March 20th, 2007, Armored Core 4 review by Greg Miller on IGN.com?
No. Yes, please take me back to this.
I don't think you want me to go back to that. I don't think the fan base probably wants me to go back to that.
So you have, I mean, in that case, you have more of a history.
5.9 mediocre.
Oh, God.
The Armored Core franchise celebrates its 10th anniversary this year. To have that kind of staying power is clear Sega and From Software know what the fan base wants. But although Armored Core 4 delivers its usual expansive customization options, it isn't enough to overlook weak single-player missions and lackluster visuals.
Wow.
I mean, Armored Core fans, was that right or wrong? Because I don't know. And this is definitely when IGN's like, here's a game, review it. And I'm like, got it. I will shit about this thing.
And looking back through Armored Core reviews, because we did our fantasy draft at the top of the year, and I had to know how Armored Core usually review. They seem to not review like spectacularly, right? Like I'll say probably in like the 70s, maybe higher, maybe lower, depending.
DJ Kento says AC4 is definitely mid. You got it, Greg. Whew.
Yeah, but like Ghostian says, LOL, AC4 is one of the best.
Well,
But I also think that defines.
You were not
Armored
wrong,
Core.
says Sphinx Jur. Okay.
Well, you have more of a history with Armored Core than I do in this scenario.
Okay.
And so
That's scary.
How did the demo speak to you?
Oh, I like watching it. It was that weird thing where it's like, again, I am old and ancient. We know this. Stella doesn't need to come to the chat to tell you. I don't remember this review, right? And I couldn't have told you I reviewed an Armored Core. But watching the Armored Core demo, I was like, it's like Biff in Back to the Future 2. I'm like, oh, this seems very familiar. Like, wait a second. I must have done something. I must have played them before at IGN or whatever. And so watching this, what I was taken with was how quick it was, how beautiful it was, and the customization of it. I thought it was cool. You let off in your demo here talking about, canned demos where something, what's going on, blah, blah. In here, in the presentation, there is a section where they lose in a fight, right? Mm-hmm. And it is like, okay, we lost here, but it's not like trying to swerve you. It is like, we lost here. We didn't have the right loadout. But as you can see, when you die, you immediately can go right to the screen that pops up. It's like, do you want to change your loadout? And you can go in and do this, blah, 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 and come back and fight that way. I watched all of it, and I don't think that Armored Core 6 is going to be my game. I don't think it's going to be something I rush out to play. But I did look at it and go, wow, it looks fast. The action looks fun. The game looks beautiful, and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's just that I don't have that mech fantasy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that kind of thing. But it was cool to see, Stinger missiles come out. It was nice to see them switch between their weapons when they're reloading one to come off and start shooting with the bullets on the other one, right? And then again, just the verticality of what you're seeing. Like, it interested me, I guess is the thing to say. When we can get our hands on it, whether it be reviewed code, whether it be a preview event, I would like to touch sticks and see if I am like, okay, cool. Because again, what I think I remember Armored Core what I do remember of Armored Core, again, when I was watching this demo was, I remember it being a bit slower. I remember it being a bit more me dashing back and forth to evade. And again, maybe I'm confusing this not only with Armored Core 4, but other mech games I played at some point in time. This didn't get that vibe. This seemed like you're in the action the whole time. What's chat saying that's making fun of, making you laugh?
Touch sticks is what he was saying.
What did I say?
People heard something different. I don't
touch dicks?
Yeah, people thought you said touch dicks.
Hey man, whatever I got to do to play Armored Core 6.
So yeah, this is fun going into it, right? Because you're somebody who I think typically isn't.
And I'm also confirmed by OMG's no, Greg, it was slower. Thank you. See, mine like a steel trap.
There you go.
You show me gameplay.
Well, you're
like,
a veteran in the game.
Exactly.
But yeah, like you're somebody who you're not a big Souls person, right? Like the latest From Software games don't like do it big for you. You played Bloodborne.
So that's a great point too of like why I'm interested to play this. Whereas Elden Ring, I never was like, oh yeah, that looks like my game. That looks like a world I'd rather exist in.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So if it is going to be, let's take the what we've learned from the Souls game, which has never been the turnoff for me. let's figure out how to beat this boss. Let's figure out like I don't mind that. I loved that in like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Valhalla is even better example of running into somebody who's way too tough that I could fight at the moment or I could come back later. Like that would be something if I can connect with this gameplay and really feel like, oh man, I don't feel like a lumbering robot. I feel like a fast mech. If that was the idea, then okay, cool. And the gameplay singing, then yeah, I'd be into it.
Yeah.
Similar to like how I'm usually not a Final Fantasy guy, right? But 16's demo, the action, the combat is so active and so go. I'm like, oh man, even if I wasn't into the story, which I think I'm going to be, I'd be into this.
Yeah. I mean, for me, as somebody who's coming in as a newer From Software fan, right? Like I fucking loved Bloodborne. I loved Sekiro. I loved Elden Ring. All of those games I would put in my top 25 of all time at this point. You know, going into this Armored Core 6 demo, I was very curious to see how much of that DNA would we see in an Armored Core 6 when it's been so long since From Software has made an Armored Core. And one of the things that stuck out to me in their presentation, their pitch before they actually showed gameplay, was them talking about what Anna highlighted here in her preview, right? The Ogura said, our aim is to create a new mech action by the current From Software, which combines the fundamental fan aspect of the Armored Core series with the design philosophy of recent From Software games, right? How much is that going to shine through when you're talking about the amount of money they have to make a game now, the things they've learned over creating Dark Souls and Elden Ring and all this stuff now, but what they've learned about what people like, right? What they've figured out is that From Software formula. And from watching the gameplay, you know, I've left with a few things, right? This is not a Souls game.
Sure.
That was to be expected, right? But, you know, it's nice watching the gameplay and getting that reconfirmation of, all right, yeah, it's not like you're, you know, finding bonfires. It's not like you're
see, like that looks
in
fun.
open space.
Like that looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I hope this feels as good as it looks, because then yeah, I would be like, let's go, let's play.
But that's my thing also is watching the gameplay, I'm so fucking into this. You know, I look at the end of Kat Bailey's the preview where she says that this is an Armored Core game for Armored Core fans. You know, I seriously doubt that Armored Core 6 will win over newly minted Soulsborne fans who loved Elden Ring. Reading through Kat Bailey's whole preview, Kat Bailey is an Armored Core person, right?
Yeah.
She has a familiarity with the series, and that's where she's speaking from. For me, it's not an Armored Core person. What I saw has me very excited, and I think it is just the idea of it is very fast. It is you are boosting all over the place. The boss fights look really cool.
Huge, yeah.
We got to there was like 2 bosses in the game, right? There was the mini boss that I thought was just a legit boss, and watching that I was like, oh, this looks cool. And then they get to the actual boss.
This
I'm
guy
like,
right here, right?
Oh fuck, I believe because
Because this is where our demo ended when the dude got crushed by him.
Yeah, we got here and I was like, oh, this looks dope as hell. What they're bringing to the table visually, I think is really cool, right? Like this boss we're fighting is like this spews lava, has like a lot of red and orange to it, and I think it really shines the way that like the way the lighting looks coming off of that, I think looks really cool.
100%. And like the customization they showed is a big selling point for me. You know what I mean? Of like getting in there and making the robot look the way or the mech the way I want it to. Obviously, in Armored Cores before, obviously you can switch out different guns and stuff, but it seems like there's more of a variety here.
Yeah. And seeing some of the enemy variety as well had me pretty interested. There was a cool droideka looking guy that has like a centipede center that every time that guy came up I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. But yeah, the customization stuff as well I think is dope. You know, I know that's been a thing for Armored Core. That's one of the central aspects of Armored Core. But them showing it off, them getting in depth talking about how you can have, I believe they said like 4 weapons can be equipped on each hand and shoulder. And you know, the gameplay loop that they're talking about here seems to be way more focused on the customization than even just the execution. Of course, it's From Soft, it's Armored Core and all this stuff, so execution is a big part of it. Sure. But yeah, when you die, you go directly into that menu screen to figure out what do I need to switch around in order to account for this specific battle that I'm in. And I love that, right? Like
sure.
I think that's a gameplay loop that should work for a mech action game, right? And like having it be modern From Software working on that, modern From Software pushing that, and like them taking their learnings off of the stuff they've done recently and like combining all that into an Armored Core game. I think that's really cool. They talked about PvP stuff. They talked about online, not like in depth, but they mentioned that stuff is going to be there, which is pretty cool. But then, yeah, in terms of the fast combat, you know, they have like quick turn in here, right? To like make sure you're getting from place, or make sure you're navigating the areas pretty easily. They have like multiple different kinds of boosts in there. They have ambushes in here, like enemy ambushes that you know so well from Software games already. There's a cool light shield that I dug a lot. I thought that looked really cool. And it seems like this game is gonna be hard as fuck, which I'm all about. Like I think that's gonna be fun for it.
But again, if that's the hook of it, right? If it's going to be hard as fuck, but it is, you died, what do you want to change? Like, I like that problem solving. I like the instantaneous nature of it. I like there not being a penalty other than, okay, you're dead and you'll have the full health bar, but come back. What weapons could you use? What boosts could you use? What kind of things can you switch up on the mech? That's awesome.
And so, my final takeaway from it was that, okay, this isn't a Souls game, but it is a From game. And I even take that and I attach it to some of the enemy design in terms of how they move and how they wind up their moves and how you can, like, dodge out of the way and all that stuff and, like, really feel like you're in the moment trying to figure out how to get around the boss. Watching it look like it was a From Software game, and that for me, that's the most exciting thing about it. And so this demo got me way more hyped on Armored Core 6 than I was previously. After the demo, it was me and Andy in the same one. I turned around to Andy and I was like, dude, the Game of the Year hierarchy is changing, right? At least for that second place race. I don't know about first place, but I'm very excited about this thing. But moving on though. Story, unless you have any final words on Armored Core 6.
No, again, I'm not as into it as you are, but I went from to be like, okay, I want to try it.
Fair enough. Story number 2. Microsoft signs a deal with Outriders studio People Can Fly for a new Xbox game. This is Tom Ivan at Video Games Chronicle. Microsoft and People Can Fly have signed a deal for a new Xbox game. In a regulatory release, the Polish studio said codenamed Project Maverick will be fully funded by IP owner Microsoft and will have a $30 million to $50 million budget. The developer behind Gears of War Judgment, Bulletstorm, and most recently Outriders said it concluded a production and publishing agreement with Microsoft for the AAA game on Tuesday. People Can Fly, which celebrated its 20th anniversary in 2022 and was owned by Epic Games from 2012 to 2015, also developed the PC port of the original Gears of War and has worked on Fortnite too. Greg, a Microsoft new Xbox game, Project Maverick, what could that be?
Well, could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Maverick, though, usually implies flying, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think coming off the success of Top Gun and, like, in general, it's been a call sign for fighter pilot kind of stuff. So I guess it could be a flying game or have some kind of stuff in there.
Do you think it's Crimson Skies? That's where my mind immediately went when I saw Project Maverick.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting one. Do you think so?
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I think it's an option. Do you want to put a $30 to $50 million budget into bringing back a Crimson Skies? Like, this is not me throwing shade at Crimson Skies, but as an IP, as a game to sell, I feel like that's one that you'd want to maybe experiment with or like test the waters a little bit before you go all in on it, right? And so, like, I think there's an option there. I'm sure that there's plenty of the fan base that has been asking for a Crimson Skies, but I think it'd be an interesting one to bring back.
Yeah,
I feel like there could be. I mean, maybe it is a new IP. I feel like that's probably the easy guess there, but.
I mean, even before, I wasn't even prepared to go and really hypothesize about what Project Maverick could be. I think it's more just the excitement that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Outriders was a game we all dug, and I think unexpectedly dug, right? Because it did hit at a time when we didn't have much to play. We all dropped in, and we all had a great time with it. Was the story memorable? No, it wasn't, Tom. But it was the idea that the gameplay was fun. We enjoyed running through that. Again, it was a game that launched and was like, we're not a games as a service. We are this multiplayer or single player game that does have a definitive end. And then they got a lot of success. Like, we'll put out an expansion. I think that they're a really talented studio. I think they made something really, really cool there. I'd love to see, with Xbox behind them and that Xbox budget, what in Xbox knowing and wanting great games on their platform, what they're going to come up with. Because I'd imagine it would be something like, okay, cool, we're trying to make something like Outriders again for Xbox. Xbox would love to have that moment on their console, right? Of just like, cool, come here and play on Game Pass, come here and play on cloud, come here and play on PC, come here and play on the console, and do whatever multiplayer thing we're doing that is going to be, again, have its Outriders moment, a month of that where it's all anybody wants to play.
Yeah. I think the other option, too, would be if they were to do something with Gears, maybe a Gears spinoff, because they have had this past with working on Gears Judgment. And, like, you're talking about Outriders. Again, that is them continuing their lineage of knowing how to make a third-person action shooter, and one that is fun and enjoyable to play. And I could see if Microsoft is trying to do different things, trying to expand out the Gears IP, the best people to bring in probably would be a People Can Fly. And so there's quite a few options here. But, yeah, I think it being
would you rather it be Gears related, or would you rather it be a new IP?
I'd rather it be a new IP. Okay, but I'm also just not a Gears person.
Sure.
Like, maybe
I
think
Microsoft might be wholly aware of that to a degree. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying Gears is dead or Gears is a dead, blah, blah, blah. I just think when you say, hey, it's another Gears game, that does cap it for a lot of people. Like, I've never really dug it. I hate the giant bulky bodies and, blah, blah, blah. Like, it could work.
That does do it for Gears fans, though.
Sure.
Right? Like, we keep getting Gears games for a reason, right? And I think you know, I think me and you not being as into it is different from Snow White Mike probably being fully into it, of getting excited for Gears. And there was that quote recently, I forget who gave the quote, it might have been Phil, actually I don't think it was Phil, there was somebody from Xbox that gave the quote, it was Matt Booty, talking about how video games have a development cycle now of 4 to 5 years. Like, that is becoming the standard when you're talking about AAA. And if the expectation is that you are not getting another Gears for another 5 years, maybe if you can have 2 developers working on it, and now you have every 2.5 years getting a new Gears, that's maybe not like a core Gears 6 or Gears 7 or whatever, but could be, hey, before the next mainline Gears, you're getting a Gears spinoff that is made by a capable team that might be exploring a new story. So similar to how we talk about something like Uncharted, where it'd be interesting to see a different studio find their take on Uncharted that is different character, different story, and like, you know, take that where they want to take it. I could see them ping-ponging back and forth of going, hey, Gears is I already forget the name of the studio that actually does Gears, but Gears is like
Coalition.
Coalition is the main guys for Gears. People can fly. Can you find a new angle for Gears that you can make your own and make those things bounce off of each other so that we're not just spending all this time without a Gears game?
So what's fascinating about this is that everything you just said is totally on point. But I think there could be a different lane. There's a branch there in the timeline, and it's a question of what Microsoft is right now. I would counter-argue all this, right, in the fact that the latest Gears was great, and it was well-received, and people really liked it. It did not make the Xbox explode. It did not seem like it really crossed boundaries. It did not seem like it brought in a whole new audience to it. It seemed like Gears fans were there, Xbox fans were there. If I'm Phil and I'm the team right now, and I think if you look at the presentation and how they talked about it on Sunday, right, I might be in line with them. I desperately do not want my identity to be, we are Xbox, we are Halo, and we are Gears, and we are Forza. I want it to be, we are Xbox, and we have all these awesome studios making awesome games. I don't want, if I'm Xbox, I don't want Xbox's Last of Us. I want Xbox's Naughty Dog. I want to establish a developer that is the developer. I want people to know that it doesn't matter if it's going to be Infamous or if it's going to be Ghost of Tsushima or if it's going to, you care that it's Sucker Punch. That's what I want as Xbox. I want people to look and go, oh, it's an Insomniac game, not, oh, it's another Ratchet and Clank game. And I don't think Xbox is there yet. I think with a lot of stuff we saw as they started rolling out some of these announcements on Sunday, as we've seen from just the lineage and the talent we know is over there, they have that path to success. But that would be my thing of, I think what holds Xbox back is the belief that the only strengths they have are Gears, Xbox, and Forza. And I'm being reductive. There's also Flight Sim and yada. But you know what I mean? In terms of like, those are proven IP for Xbox that were proven IP last gen and the gen before that. And it's like that thing where it's like PlayStation and I'm not even trying to carry a PlayStation water here, has done a great job of, all right, Naughty Dog, you know what I mean? What are you going to do for the PlayStation 2 life cycle, the PlayStation 3 life cycle, the PlayStation 4? And then, you know, they start to bleed a bit. But you understand what I'm saying of like, we're going to move and pass the baton around here where people aren't just like, oh, it's another Gears game. No, it's Halo Infinite's it's just another Halo game. Like, I think they want to be seen as game creators with a vibrant developer landscape and portfolio that is about these things. And the only way to do that, I think, is to never do another Gears game. And to my own point, go and argue myself, right? This would be a great way to get a Gears game and let the Coalition do something else or whatever you want it to be. Because even the Coalition, like, do they just want to be the Gears studio? Did fucking Guerrilla just want to be fucking Killzone for the rest of their life? No. Nobody wants to just be that the rest of their life.
I mean, I think there's an interesting conversation here. There's a question that I was going to save for reader mail, but I want to bring it in here. But before we get there, of course, I want to tell you about patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Over on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and kindoffunny, you can go and get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon and Summer Game Fest. We are in an absolutely stacked year of video game releases, and you can find all of them on Amazon.com/SummerGameFest. I hope that you found a spare few hundred hours to play all the amazing games that have come out this year already. Gamers have been eating good this year, but this is the only place you want to be. Amazon.com/SummerGameFest. Because guess what? This summer, there's going to be even more exciting announcements coming through of so many more video games that are about to be on all of your favorite consoles, like Final Fantasy 16, Armored Core 6, Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1, Exo Primal, Assassin's Creed Mirage. The list goes on and on. You can go to Amazon.com/SummerGameFest all summer long to discover the top new and upcoming games as soon as they go up for pre-order, or you can go check out the website now for everything you might have missed so far this year. Again, that's Amazon.com/SummerGameFest for all of your video game needs. Today's episode is sponsored by PayPal Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. But did you know it only takes a few seconds to get it? That means if you go to add it on your laptop or iPhone right now, you could be done before the ad read is even over. You know how good it feels to check something off of your to-do list, so hey, let's get to checking. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. So imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite websites out there, and when you check out, the Honey button appears, and all that you have to do is click apply coupon. Kinda Funny's been using Honey for years. It's literally saved us thousands of dollars on tech, food, costumes, ton of stuff. Honey doesn't just work on desktop. It works on your iPhone too. You just activate it on Safari on your phone, and you get to save on the go. Getting Honey seriously only takes a few seconds, and by getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. Get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/kindafunny. That's joinhoney.com/kindafunny. We all love gobbling up content, and we have an understanding of what subscriptions we use. Or do we? Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions when the actual total is closer to $200. That's right. You could be wasting hundreds of dollars each and every month on subscriptions you might not even know about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and it helps lower your bills all in one place. Rocket Money has saved some of us here at Kinda Funny a ton of money, and it can help you too. Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finance in one place, and it automatically can help categorize your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. That's rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. One more time, rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. Rocket Money, kinda funny.
And we're back with a question from Nathan Choquette, who writes in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, and says, Matt Booty says that gamers and industry folk need to realize that games now take 4 to 6 years to make, rather than in the past when maybe a 2 to 4 year release cycle was more common because of the current expectations for size, scope, and fidelity in the PS5 and Xbox Series X generation. While this may initially sound negative, do you think it could actually be helpful in the sense of allowing for fewer big releases packed into a single year? Or does this newer, longer dev cycle run the risk of creating marketing fatigue for gamers who are always hungrily looking forward to the next big showcase/announcements? If companies don't plan on releasing a game for several years, I don't really want to hear about it until it's nearly ready to release. But I may be in the minority here, and it seems like publishers and console manufacturers feel they have to still market big titles early on to build hype and support for each console's ecosystem. I find this question very interesting, especially for the conversation that we're in the middle of, because you talk about Xbox wanting to have this flourishing library of a bunch of different games, IP, developers that they can look to as, hey, we're not just Halo, Gears, and Forza. We are Halo, Gears, Forza, XYZ IP that we're adding to the mix that you identify these developers with, right? Like these developers are growing with these IP and hopefully becoming the next Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, et cetera, et cetera. What I find interesting when I lump this question in with it, right, is that we do make that comparison to something like Naughty Dog. And I think that I've been thinking about since we got this Matt Booty quote is the fact that I feel like The Last of Us 3 is like a decade away. Yeah. Like we're so far away from the next game from Naughty Dog. And
That's what I've been saying, man.
And
2030 at the least.
At the least, right? And I take that and I apply it to pretty much most even PlayStation developers aside from Insomniac, who somehow they're fucking on speed or whatever, they're just cranking out games left and right. Where Ghost, who
And
knows
to pull
when
the
Ghost,
car over for a second.
yeah.
This is the fuck. I don't remember the triangle, but Bozon, when he was on the other day, talked about it. Right, you can have something that's good, fast, or something else, and like you have to do a whole thing. And that's the thing of like, Insomniac cranks out games like nobody's business. Insomniac games are great. Are they game of the year? Are they the masterpiece? Are they the ones? Oh my god! Like that's what Naughty Dog's trying to achieve, and that's what takes so long. And this is not me talking shit about Insomniac. I love it. I can't wait for Spider-Man 2. But we've had this conversation over and over again, right? Of like Insomniac being that 859 developer, and are they ever going to get over that hump and be that kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't think you're that kind of thing when you're putting out a game every 2 years, every 3 years, whatever it is.
But even when we're talking about IP and franchises and stuff, right? Ghost of Tsushima 2 is another one I look toward. Of man, we got Ghost of Tsushima in 2020. We're in 2023. We've not even got an announcement of Ghost of Tsushima 2.
Sure.
Are we not?
Sucker Punch is a small studio. People always overlook that. Yeah.
But also, like, is that sustainable? Might not be the word I'm looking for. Maybe it is, honestly. Like when we're talking about franchises, when we're talking about putting out 2 games in the same franchise, and it might take you 8 to 10 years to do so because video game development cycles are so long.
Jump back, throw out the Sony Santa Monica reference, right?
Yeah.
When Corey was like, "Yeah, we're not doing a God of War trilogy. We don't want to work on this for 15 years."
Yeah, I think I think that's where I get at when I think about the thought of if you're Xbox and you can bring in a People Can Fly to work on an alternate Gears game, you keep Gears in the ecosystem longer as opposed to putting out one Gears game. 6 years pass. All right, we're finally ready to put out the Gears sequel.
Sure.
And you're getting these, like, you're getting one hit of this big game release for this one IP every half a decade. I guess my question is that sustainable, right? Because PlayStation has been making it work, but even for PlayStation, is that sustainable with something like Last of Us, where we got a Last of Us TV show? They're trying to do different things with the IP, I think, to make it more current in the landscape, right? But if we're not going to get Last of Us Part 3 until, let's say, 2030, is that the right way to treat that IP? Like, should that be the norm when we're talking about these big IP that people love, people want more of?
I think it always comes down to what do you want from the IP? And I think this is the big thing for the Gears conversation we were having too, right? And it was a shout out to, I forget who it was in the chat. You didn't use yourwrong.com or kindoffunny.com/yourwrong, which would have been helpful to get your name read. But they were saying like Coalition's already confirmed they're working on it in their Gears, right? So then we are talking about, okay, well then our People Can Fly doing Gears or doing something else, and then blah, blah. But it's always that question of you need to feed a fire, but not suffocate it, right? You can put too much stuff into the fire and it doesn't work. And so that's the thing of like, is there that demand and hunger for Gears? There is that demand and hunger for Last of Us right now. I would argue there was for Uncharted, but by the time we have finished Uncharted 4, people are like, this is a good place to stop for the most part. And so that is that, push around, how do you want to make it work? And like, you have to be trying to read those tea leaves early. And it's one of the things I made a joke about when before Horizon Zero Dawn even came out, there was some PlayStation marketing person who's quoted as like, we're going to work on a book and we're going to do comics and and I was like, whoa, like you don't even know if this thing's going to work or not. And it totally did. But you can look at when GameStop published Song of the Deep from Insomniac and they're like, we're putting out Funko Pops and this. And it was like, we don't know if we like this game. And then the game was fine. I really enjoyed it, but like it didn't set the world on fire and that shit was all in the clearance bin really quickly. Like there's such a push and pull to figure out how to do it. So to your question then of like, to this question of Nathan, right? Like, where does this leave you and what does it do? Like, I don't worry so much about like gamers' insatiable appetites, right? Because that, yes, we all have that, and it legitimately doesn't matter because no matter what, we're always going to want the next thing. This is always, I feel like, the both must be heartening and disheartening thing for developers of you work on a game for 5-6 years, you put it out, and as soon as the first weekend's over, it's, well, what's next? What are you doing next? And we start running the headlines of like, well, there's this rumor, job posting, are you doing DLC or what? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they just did that. It's years till the next thing, and that is such a difficult decision. The conversation, like for Matt Booty and for PlayStation, right, is the idea that once you get these first parties rolling, right, you get to a point where you don't need to announce something that is 6 years away early because you'll have, hopefully, these games in rotation, studios in rotation, right? Where you go around and it's like, all right, we've just launched the latest Naughty Dog game, so you won't hear from them in a while. Instead, Sony Ben's coming around to say whatever they're going to do, and then Insomniac's coming around. You know what I mean? Like, you do that kind of rotation where maybe, I know for Xbox, their quote they're out there with this week talking about all this, which I think is also from the XCast, but doesn't matter. Nobody wants to credit us for our Phil Spencer interview. But I did see, I think it might have been Matt Booty again getting interviewed, talking about they want 4 games a year. They want one Xbox exclusive or, from their studios every quarter. And it's like right there, if they can get in that rhythm, you're set, right? Because you can announce 1 year out or whatever the next 4 games, and 1 year out the next 4, and you get in the thing. It's just when you're where Xbox has been and where they will be again and where PlayStation will be and where anybody who's a publisher will be of announcing a game and then it gets delayed and this happens, or there's a giant worldwide pandemic that throws everything off, and it's like suddenly you're very carefully planned marketing beats, of course, are reminded that, you make plans and God laughs. Like, that's not how this works, especially creating art, right? So it is this thing of, I don't think, I saw when we were reading the story, somebody in the chat said something to the effect of like, I think most of us are already know we live in this world. And it's like, sure, most of us listening to Kind of Funny Games daily know that, but there is a giant, insatiable audience that is out there buying video games and playing video games and maybe not reading IGN. Or there's the other people like Poe who are buying, Last of Us and then not even realizing they're Last of Us 2 for a while, or vice versa, and trying to figure it out. Like, again, it's always, I hate looking at things like this through the keyhole. You sit there and we go like, oh man, like, I hate to think about Xbox or PlayStation only doing these things and they're only gonna get this many, it's gonna be this many years. You're forgetting, of course, the dozens of independent studios making stuff. And I don't even mean small indies, I mean big indies. We're talking about third-party publishers like EA. We're talking about what Xbox just did here, right? Of partnering with people like People Can Fly, right? To be like, listen, we have our studios all full steam ahead on all these different games. Let's get some other people in here to make other games to fill this gap that we see in 2 years or whatever. Like, this is video games right now. And there's a great conversation and argument to have of how it could all pivot. The game development cycle is too long. It is taking too long to make the next great blockbuster. So let's move to an episodic, not weekly like Telltale, but an episodic thing where you are going to get The Last of Us Part 3 in 15 different chapters. You will get a chapter every half.
You talk about Deltarune. That's exactly what that is.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And
and it'll cost $10. You know what I mean?
But but honestly, to that last point, right? I think the more realistic pivot would be, actually, let's just make this thing a live service, which I think is happening. Right? I think that's what you saw with something like Fallout, where, when I'm talking about games that we're not going to see in forever, Fallout, the next Fallout game from Bethesda Game Studios is at least 15 years away, because they are putting out Starfield right now. The next thing after that is going to be Elder Scrolls, the next one, and that's going to take 6 to 7 years for them to put out, and then you're going to
might be Todd Howard's final game, he says.
Yeah,
final Elder Scrolls
exactly, and then you're going to start to talk about Fallout, right? Like, that for me is a bummer. As somebody who loves Fallout, as somebody who would love to see more Fallout, you're telling me I had to wait that long for a Fallout, and then you have a Fallout 76 that is supposed to be that. Okay, cool. This is going to be the ongoing thing that is going to keep Fallout in the ecosystem, that if you're a fan, you come back to this and play.
But
then
here's
Fallout
where I think we have an interesting True. Here's where we get a difference, right? Where I think if I'm Xbox, and again, to many a degree, I'm not talking out my ass, but I am the PlayStation coverage guy. I know PlayStation really well. So I want to talk about Gears and whatever. Like, I think there's a more insatiable appetite for Fallout than there is Gears. And I think there's way more opportunity to say, all right, Obsidian, giddy up. Let's make a New Vegas 2. You know what I mean? You can do that while they keep working on this. And by the time you're done with that and we publish that, and then we're 3 years out from Fallout 5. You know what I mean? And then you can get in that kind of rhythm if you wanted to. I think you could do something fun there, even though it wouldn't be the true Bethesda Games experience of it, the Todd Howard vision of it. I think that's an IP you could drop in and apply and be like, oh yeah, there's more of that. And again, I'm being selfish because I'm a Fallout fan. I'd be excited for that. Whereas a Gears game from people can fly in a different genre or whatever. I'm not saying I wouldn't be like, but it would be like, oh, Gears. All right. There's now, for me personally, as a non-Gears fan, is this going to actually grab me? Is this going to be something cool? Where's Fallout? I'm like, no matter what.
Yeah. God, please make New Vegas 2.
Your mouth to God's ears.
Like, then I had hope that we could get that until they then finally announced Outer Worlds 2, which I also like Outer Worlds a lot, and so I'm down for Outer Worlds 2. But
I like it a lot.
I liked it a lot, yeah. Okay. I even played the DLC. I didn't get around to the second one, though, but yeah. Story number 3. We got here everything announced at the Xbox Game Showcase Extended. Speaking of Xbox, this comes from Adam Bankhurst at IGN. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty kicked off the Xbox Game Showcase Extended, and fans were treated to a deep dive of the expansion and a new look at Dogtown, which is described as the underbelly of Night City. Keanu Reeves, who's returning as Johnny Silverhand, also stopped by the showcase to discuss more about the expansion. He confirmed that, quote, shit's gone down in Dogtown.
Shout out to Tina Amini, who was on that as well.
Yeah.
Killing it.
Very big shout out to Tina Amini. Squanch Games announced High on Knife, a DLC expansion for High on Life that has some serious horror vibes to go with the game's focus on comedy. The Lamplighters League and the tower at the end of the world got a brand new look, and it gave a glimpse of the game in action. The First Descendant, a free-to-play third-person looter shooter built on Unreal Engine 5, announced it would be getting a cross-play beta from August 22nd to the 28th. Hi-Fi Rush will be getting 2 new game modes on July 5th with the Arcade Challenge update, and they are BPM Rush and Power Up Tower Up. The first of these modes, BPM Rush, features high-speed gameplay that is faster than anything seen in the main game. And defeating enemies will cause that speed to skyrocket higher and higher until you are defeated. In Power Up Tower Up, Chai will see his skills downgraded to 0, and the goal is to defeat wave after wave of enemy to get powerful once again in this new rhythm tower. Alongside these new modes, the update will also bring in new songs, enemies, rewards, accessories, a costume pack with a retro vibe, and more. And then Phasmophobia is coming to consoles via early access this August. We also got deeper looks into the Elder Scrolls Online Necrome, Exoprimal, Microsoft Flight Sim with the Dune expansion, Go Mecha Ball, Lies of P, Hellblade 2, Lightyear Frontier, 33 Immortals, Avowed, Towerborn, and Fallout 76. Greg, were there any news bits out of this extended showcase that popped out to you as something exciting?
No, but I don't think there needed to be, right? I think the showcase is where you do the super exciting stuff, and then you use this for the deep dives. I appreciate that quite a bit. Obviously, High on Life, or no, not High on Life.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, thank you.
Yeah.
Wasn't my jam, so I know I got to watch Tim react to that yesterday and be like, oh, okay, like this is like the least of what I wanted, but it's cool that I'm getting more. Like he wanted, a new level or a new boss or whatever he was saying. But in general, no, I nothing popped off the page for me. I'm excited to see, Xbox give this stage though for developers to talk about what they're doing. Of course, Paris Lily being out there in a cock can't cook jacket.
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
Cool.
Shout out to that. Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush was the one that I think most speaks to me, and I wish it was more. I listened to the show yesterday, and I know Tim mentioned that like this is on the lower end of what would get him hyped up, and I'm kind of with that. But it's something that I'd be down to jump into, right? Like especially in July, where there's not a crazy amount of games happening in July. Maybe I'm gonna have time earlier in the month to jump into that. And then
take a break, Bless. Take a break before everything comes out.
Video games, they're year round now. I got to play them all the time.
It's always review season.
And then High on Knife was one where as soon as that came up, I was like, oh man, Justin Roiland, you know what I mean? Like, god damn, why you had to ruin it for everybody? So that bummed me out a little bit, but hey, it is what it is. Story number 4. Lego 2K Goal has been rated in South Korea. Goal. This is Chris Scullion at Video Games Chronicle. A rating for Lego 2K football game has been spotted in South Korea. As reported by Komatsu, the Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea has given an all-ages rating to the game titled Lego 2K Goal with multiple O's.
Goal!
It also notes that the applicant was Take-Two Interactive. Given the game's title, Lego 2K Goal is almost certainly a Lego football game published by 2K. This
soccer game.
This would soccer. This is America. This would finally confirm VGC's exclusive report from February 2022, in which we revealed that Lego was partnering with 2K for a new line of Lego sports games. At the time, people with knowledge of 2K's plans told us that the publisher had signed a new multi-game partnership with Lego, which was intended to start with a football game, Soccer for the Americans, developed by Sumo Digital, and would then be followed by an open-world Lego racing game developed by Visual Concepts. Ultimately, the racing game, which was later revealed to be Lego 2K Drive, was released first, meaning the newly discovered rating suggests Lego 2K Goal will be the second game in the deal. Cool. I thought I'd be more into Lego 2K Drive. It had, I think, the double bummer of coming out after Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and me not caring about anything aside from Zelda by the time it came out. And then also it was fine. Like I started playing and I was like, okay, yeah, this is what you expect from a Lego driving game, and it's cool. It has like that fun world to drive around in, but also I could just play Forza. I could just play any other open world driving game. But yeah, like it's neat to see them making a soccer/football game.
I'm sure you and Janet will play and argue about who's better at it all the time.
Oh yeah, and I'm gonna be better. That's the easy bet.
Do you beat her often at FIFA?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I believe she called me her white whale. And so, but yeah, I'll probably try this once or twice and go, all right, cool. It's a Lego soccer game and move on with my life.
Sure,
but
sure.
Neat that they're making it like, yeah, try things out. Why not?
Why not?
Story number 5. PS5 game streaming is here. This is directly from the PlayStation blog First off, we have very exciting news for the PlayStation Plus Premium member.
Hail too deeply.
We're currently testing. That's why I gotta stop smoking. We're currently testing cloud streaming for supported PS5 games.
Cool.
You do look cool. This includes PS5 titles from the PlayStation Plus game catalog and game trials, as well as supported digital PS5 titles that players own. When this feature launches, cloud game streaming for supported PS5 titles will be available for use directly on your PS5 console. That means as a premium member, it'll be easier to jump into your favorite games without downloading them first onto your PS5 console. Our goal is to add this as an additional benefit to PlayStation Plus Premium as part of our ongoing efforts to enhance the value of PlayStation Plus. We're in the early stages now, and we can't wait to share more details when we get ready, or when we're ready, including a launch timeframe. Stay tuned. Now, here are some of the games joining the PlayStation Plus catalog next week. You got Far Cry 6, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, Rogue Legacy 2.
Full fucking stop. Bearing the lead, Rogue Legacy 2 coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 June 20th. Let's fucking go. We go to Gamatsu, where Sal Romano writes, Celador Games will release Rogue Legacy 2 for PlayStation 5 and PS4 on June 20th, the developer announced. The PlayStation release will feature all the latest content updates, bringing it in line with the existing Xbox and Switch and PC versions when it launches. This includes the final major update, Swan Song, which launched in April and added 3 new special game modes, 3 new Fabled weapons, and a new boss encounter. Fuck yeah, blessing, we're finally getting Rogue Legacy 2. Fuck yeah, we're gonna play it
Totally
on the
thought it came to
Vita.
PS5 forever ago. Did not realize it was a new release.
Coming to the PlayStation.
Is there gonna platinum it? Is that the plan?
Now, keep zooming in. Vampire fucking survivors. You are next. Get your little fucking dead fingers on the keyboard and bring it to PlayStation!
With a good trophy list in the platinum.
With a good trophy list and a platinum.
Inscription is coming to PS Plus, PS4, and PS5 next week, along with Solstice, Tacoma, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Killing Floor 2, and a game trial for WWE 2K23.
WWE.
That'll be available on June 20th, and you can go and unlock Greg Miller as a manager card in My Factions. Have fun with
For
that.
like another 12 hours.
Oh, so maybe not next week.
You get it now, and then you got to somehow get I don't know, refunded. I don't know how you do it, but you get it.
Well,
now, will I maybe have a code for you guys eventually? I probably have a code.
I mean, could you come back in rotation?
Probably, yeah.
But that day is just so far away.
Yeah.
If I wanted those come out to mom and grab shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, we got Dubium Early Access for PC, Creature Lab for PC, and Daydream Forgotten Sorrow for PC. New dates for you. Blackout Protocol will launch Early Access July 19th on Steam. Might and Magic Clash of Heroes Definitive Edition launches July 20th, PC and consoles, and Enclave HD arrives on consoles June 29th. Now it's time for kindoffunny.com/you're wrong.
Sorry, right there. In the
second.
YouTube chat, Barrett Rodolph says PlayStation does not need Vampire Survivors. Please time him out.
Was that on Twitch or YouTube?
That was on YouTube.
You're wrong. The Portland Kevin writes in and says the common idea Greg was thinking of is, quote, when producing something, it is wanted fast, at low cost, and high quality, but you can only get it with 2 of those
Fast,
3
cheap, good.
aspects. And that's it. Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barrett.
Means a lot to me.
Tomorrow's hosts. Greg, am I able to announce tomorrow's hosts?
I think it's a lock, but Tim wanted it to still. So there's a very special guest tomorrow as a host.
You're getting Tim and a very special guest. And on Friday, it's going to be Tim and Greg Miller.
The most special guest.
If you're watching live after this, Mike's going to come through. We're going to talk to you and answer some of your YouTube Super Chat questions. Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. Till next time, Game Daily. People are guessing Keanu Reeves.
Can you fucking imagine?
I'm thinking I'm back. Mike, how's it going? How you doing? How you feeling? I like the
Blessing.
flannel shirt.
Thank you so much.
Is
Everything
that
is
green
going
for
well.
Xbox? Is that what that is?
A little green for Xbox. I thought, we're playing Valheim today, so we're going to get lost in the forest. I thought I'd go
How
with
many
that.
flannel shirts do you own?
7.
Enough?
Wow, that's
I
a lot.
like flannel.
That's a lot.
You know what I played last night?
What's that? Street Fighter 6?
Just Nut.
Oh, wait,
Ew.
what? Really? You can play that?
Let me tell you.
Wait,
Wes,
where can I play that?
it's on Steam and there's a demo out right now.
Oh.
Yeah, let me tell you.
snap.
Let me tell you what, Bless. It's real good.
Yeah?
It's a surprisingly fun time. Because I thought to myself, Greg, how do you make a climbing game fun?
How
right?
do
am
ya?
I just gonna hold up on the stick and press A occasionally? No, it's not like that.
As somebody who's
Better than
played
that.
a lot of Shadow of the Colossus, there's a lot of ways to make a climbing game fun.
I think
okay. I've never played that
some of the
game.
people that worked on getting over it are also working on this one, if I'm not mistaken, Mike.
Now, Mike,
Y'all played that before on stream. I
Getting
know.
over it. Oh yes.
you know, there are times where you tell me that a game was good, and then I
Okay.
go to Fantasy Critic and I see if I can draft it. Last time you did that, though, it was with Last Case of Benedict Fox, and that bit me in the ass.
That one bit you in the ass.
What about
That's
Rocky
right.
City? Did that pan out for you?
Oh, thank God I
Rocky
ignored him on that
City. Hey, turns out not the worst game of the year though. Just so everybody knows.
one. Was that Redfall?
Oh,
Could be Redfall or Gollum, actually. Could
Oh
be
yeah, I
Redfall
keep
or
forgetting. I
Gollum,
keep
you know?
forgetting Gollum.
Damn. Yo, what the heck is going on, Kind of Funny best friends? It is nice to see you all, and it's nice to be back for another Kind of Funny Games daily post show where I join your two awesome, incredible hosts for today's post-show segment where we get involved with all of you out there in the chat. Of course, if you want to dive a little bit deeper into today's one of news stories, or if you just want to bring up a random topic of discussion like, hey, Greg Miller, your hair's looking fantastic, you can do
Thank
just
you.
that over on YouTube with your super chats or on Twitch if you resubscribe at the tier 1 through 3 level, or for free with Prime Gaming, you can leave a message and we can talk about it right here on today's show. But as I said, hey, there I was, Bless, playing Just Nut.
Yeah.
I recommend you check it out. I also played Liza P.
Yeah.
And I will say, I had a fun time with Liza
yeah.
P. Andy Cortez called me. He said, Mike, you got to parry a little bit more. And I'm happy to report that he helped me a lot. I beat the first boss.
Oh yeah, proud of you. I got that downloaded on my PlayStation right now, and so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna find some time. I'm gonna hop into Liza P, and you've inspired me. I'm gonna hop into Just Nut too.
I'm trying
to. I need to know if that's a Fantasy Critic joint. You know what I mean? Do I need to pick that up?
Jump on that one. I like that. I
Because
like
here's
that.
the thing: I got only one spot left in there,
Oh, okay.
and maybe I've already bid on.
Yeah, I like that you're already like filled up. I also like that my good friend Gary Witta, nowhere to be seen on this. He doesn't care.
Did you get the
You know
trade?
what I
Greg?
mean?
We knew that at the beginning of the year,
gonna
though.
need
Is that
Gary-
really a surprise?
I'm gonna need Gary Witta's login.
I mean, Gary has
I remember.
Starfield, so he doesn't need anything.
Well,
Does he
no,
even have a login?
no.
I'm gonna
There is
need
an
his
outstanding
need his
trade
login.
request from Greg
Hey,
Miller for
that's
Starfield.
him and you, but we're gonna need him to start drafting something in life.
Can you
know what I mean? I
believe
need
that
him.
when I go through the first round picks, I understand where we're at the beginning of the year, where none of us really wanted to trust in Starfield like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, right.
But he was the last. 5 of us picked before somebody
Correct.
picked Starfield.
Correct. Yeah.
We fucked up, man.
Well,
We
there was
shouldn't-
some there was
we
some
shouldn't be
good
doing
games.
this.
There were some good games.
Like-
I got Diablo. I
Sure
got
did.
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
What else? What else went before us? Because we were the final
I picked
two.
Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Okay, you chose something
yeah,
there. You
I
might
fucked
have
up. But at least I
messed up
I
on
got
that one.
RE4 Remake also for my second
Yes,
pick, and so
okay.
I mean,
that
let's
was
just
actually
talk
a good
about
pick.
Paris Lily with his fat -7 right now.
Can we
You know what
also
I mean?
talk about? Let me talk about.
And this,
Paris
this
Lily
is
really quick.
probably
No, let me talk
this
about
is the
Paris Lily
biggest
really quick.
indictment of Xbox Game Studios. They look at a guy who can't pick a good game out of a room full of great games, comes up with it, and they're like, you know what? Come host our showcase too, Paris. Get over
Paris
here.
Lily, you did an incredible job on the Xbox Extended Showcase. I know these jabronis might not have seen your full segment, but you are natural. Let me tell you what, coming back, teaming up with the Microsoft Flight Sim team, this guy's got it. It's just like as if it's just two best friends talking about what's happening in the game. It was really impressive. So shout out to you, Paris.
Paris is great. We love
did a
Paris.
really, really good job
He's
on that
dog
one.
shit at this game, but he's great.
Let's jump into the fun. Mara writes in and says, hey, who is your favorite dev whose games you don't enjoy?
Oh,
wow. Who's your
Ooh.
favorite dev whose games you don't enjoy? For example, despite playing almost all of their games and not enjoying them, I adore Arcane for their creative decisions and design philosophy.
I like that.
With
on.
and this isn't even the studio,
Lay it
but
on
with a bullet, Tim Schafer. I love Tim.
yeah,
I like
okay.
hanging out with Tim. Every time Tim makes a game, like, not for me. But Double Fine will make games. I'm like, this game, Costume Quest, yeah. Massive Chalice, yes. These
Okay.
are all games Tim didn't do anything for.
Yes.
Tim makes a Broken Age. I'm like, it's not my scene. You know what I mean? Psychonauts 2, I jump in, I try. I'm like, it's not sticking for me. And they're not, again, to Mara's point, they're not bad games. I'm not sitting there being like, oh, these games suck. I'm just like, they're not a Greg game. And so I can't stick
Greg
around.
games.
But that's why Tim respects me so much or doesn't listen to the content.
It could be one or the other. Could be
You know,
one or
who
the
knows?
other.
Who's to say what it's
Yeah.
I
Blessing.
might go with RGG Studio. That's the studio that does the Yakuza and like.
Ah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, like every time they release a game, I'm like, man, this looks cool. The story seems fun. And from what I played of their games, all the stories seem really fun. They have a really good energy to it. I love that they reuse like the same sort of environments. And so you're revisiting the same places over and over again and like seeing how things have changed between games. That's a lot of what they do with their games are things that I ask for and that I want out of their games. But when I get my hands on them, for whatever reason, 7 hours in, I always just doze off and go on to the next thing. But I really love them as a studio. I think they do. I think their vision and like the direction they take their games is really good. Maybe one day I'll become a stan.
Those are good answers, you two. That's a good.
What
one
about you?
There. Who are the jabronis up in PlayStation that make Infamous?
Sucker
PlayStation
Punch.
Bend?
Sucker
no,
Punch.
Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch and I don't really get along. I don't know why. I just can't
Did you not
follow
like
Goldfarb.
those of
Andrew
Tsushima?
Goldfarb.
Yeah, I like Goldfarb a lot. It's just like, I play those games at tournament. I just don't connect. I don't connect right now with them. That's all. Maybe it's time, place.
What about movies? Do you connect with movies?
Greg, let me tell you what movie I watched recently, okay? It's called
The Flash.
The Meg, okay?
Okay.
Jason Statham has
my
to
God.
stop a giant
It's a
shark
megalith.
that is awoken from the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
Sure, I know I've seen it. I went and saw it. I went and saw it at the drive-in movie theater in Chicago. I
Yeah.
was more. What I needed is I kind of had an unsolved mystery last night.
Okay, Unsolved Mystery. Yeah,
Where
Uh-huh.
you were nice enough to stand in line to get snacks for
So
everybody.
long. Yeah.
It took forever. You came in when the Flash had already started.
Yeah,
You sat down next to Nick.
Uh-huh.
Eventually, you guys caught my attention. We're pantomiming something. I went, just watch the fucking movie. And then at the end,
Yeah.
I talked to Nick, and he's like, "Yeah, Mike left." And I'm like, "What do you mean Mike left?" I'm like, "After he pantomimed to you, he waited another 5 minutes and then just left."
Uh-huh.
Where
Can we be real? Really?
Don't review the movie. Well, you can review.
Well, yeah,
the
I'm not
spoil the
reviewing.
movie.
I'm not talking about the movie. So here's the deal. Your boy Snowbike Mike took one for the team.
Uh-huh.
I waited in a 35-minute line.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, this theater sucks because it's
Yep.
always too hot.
Yep.
It's real crowded
This is
when you
all
walk
accurate.
in.
Yeah.
For some reason, the jabronis behind the counter have one kid working
As
instead of
always.
multiple for the biggest night of the year. You know what I mean?
Flash.
So
not gonna get any bigger.
The biggest night
Not
of the
gonna
year?
get bigger than Flash.
It's going to be one of the biggest movies of the year. No doubt about it. I mean, as of right now, today, biggest night of the year for them. You know what I mean?
imagine that maybe actual opening night would be the biggest
So,
night of the year. For
well, you'd be surprised, Barrett. This place was jam-packed. This place was on God
A
jam-packed.
lively crowd for sure.
Yeah, jam-packed.
Crowd's livelier than the Spider-Verse premiere.
Yeah. So here I am.
Remember,
Take
these
one-
are people getting an early screener they waited in the line for. They're like Flash fans.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like you bought a ticket for Spider.
I took one for the team. 35 minutes later, I finally walk in.
Now, can I just
missed
inter-
the
can I-
whole
can I inter-
opening sequence.
Let me just interrupt
Lay
one
it on
thing.
me.
I appreciate you taking one for the team.
Took one.
If anyone, and the Greg means anyone on Kind of Funny could be fucking early to something, you'd all be fine. Because when I got there at 6:40, when we were supposed to be there at 6:45,
would've been
I
there.
saw a
Would've been there.
long line
Yeah,
of concessions, but I was like, I'll go save seats. And then I sat there like this.
Hey.
Excuse me, no, sorry. I have 9 people coming.
You're a
I
seat
know
saver.
that Tim and G are
I'm a
next
line-
door eating fucking
I'm a
food.
line waiter,
I have
okay?
no idea where anyone else is.
It's
It
funny
is
'cause
7
You're
o'clock.
a
The
seat
movie is
saver.
7
I'm a
o'clock,
line waiter.
and there's no one here. I text Nick and I say, he said he was 10 out at 7 or at 6:40,
on Nick.
and
That's
I
on
said,
Nick.
please get in line for food. He just walks in. He's like, I'm like, where's the fuck? What the fuck is going on?
I'm glad.
Somehow Andy shows up with food and sits down.
I want you to
wow.
know there's got to be two. There's got to be two pieces of this puzzle. You're one piece. I was the second piece. Seat guy, snack guy. Right? There's
But
gotta be a seat
again-
guy,
but
there's got to be a
again- and
snack
this is
guy.
funny
Can you
that
get
guy.
there early?
There's got to be a seat guy. There's got to be a snack guy.
You wouldn't miss the movie if you got there early.
So here's the deal.
I just saw it through Slack because I didn't come into office yesterday. Yesterday was my day off, so but I still get like Slack notifications, and it's 6:45. I'm like, oh, why am I getting a Slack notification? Oh, they're seeing the Flash, and I do love the sequence of I've been at the theater from Greg, and then Nick is out, and then Tim is still eating dinner or some shit.
And for the
like,
record,
next
6:40. Anyone
them.
else in yet?
That's
Tim,
them.
6:41. No, I'm eating next door. We're coming over soon. You can just skip the line and walk in and say you're with Kind of Funny to the table. Me, you can tell I'm mad now. 6:42. I'm in the theater. I'll hold as many seats as I can.
I'm in the theater, period.
Nick
I'm pretty
Scarpino,
sure.
6:42. Be there in 10. Save me a seat. What the fuck, guys? It is the fucking Flash. If they pull this shit for Superman Legacy,
Tell 'em.
I'll fucking cut and run on all of you.
Tell him.
It's not just the Flash. It's just we got to a screener. We got a screener. We should, be there
here-
on time.
Here's the deal.
And then you
So
bring
I
me
get-
fucking junior mints when I ask for M&M's.
So here's the deal. Here's the snack situation. I now walk in with 4 bottles of water. I'm jamming water bottles in
Why?
different situations you wouldn't
That's
be
the thing. He
prepared
loves
for.
water bottles.
I got a Sprite can for freaking blessing. 2 popcorns.
Where you hiding that?
A foot-long goddamn pretzel for some. Why are they selling soft pretzels that big? I just wanted a
Pretzels
normal
are great.
soft pretzel. That's a foot long. It's insane, right? I get Junior Mints for myself. Now, I will say, I forgot the M&Ms. That's on me. I got the Junior Mints for myself. I put them in the box because I couldn't carry anything. I hand them the blessing, finally get everything situated, and that's when I'm
Why'd you hand it to
pantomiming.
me?
Where's the box of Junior
Literally,
Mints
like
that
I
want?
thought, like you handed me a box full of stuff, and it's like 2 popcorn, it's the Junior Mints, it's my drink, and so I'm like, okay, this popcorn belongs to Greg. Oh, some Junior Mints. Hey, Greg, are these yours?
I'm like, no, I probably bought them instead of my M&Ms, and we just sent them down.
Yeah,
what
look,
would
they
have
sent them
solved the
down.
entire
That was the
situation
moment
is if
when I was
anyone
like, I'm
showed
done.
up on time
I'm
to
leaving.
sit next to me. Instead, it's like 9 kind of funny people, then a dad and his poor daughter who have
Why
to be
are
next
they
to us.
there?
And
Why
then,
can't he scoot
then
over?
Nick won't even sit next to the daughter. He sits 5 seats down.
You're
So
doing
now
it.
you're just, I don't know. Watch the
Get-
fucking movie. The
the-
Flash is doing shit.
The moment the Junior Mints were out, guess what? I said, I'm fucking out of this thing, and I left.
So much popcorn spilled on me, by the way. When you handed those over to me, like
Stop ordering so much goddamn food in the popcorn.
I was startled. Like
Nick,
the
you
fucking
want to know
popcorn
what Nick
poured
does
all
to
over
me?
me.
Nick makes me take one for the team, and the best line that Nick leaves me with is, "Oh man, this is a big order. You might have to make 2 trips." And that's when I was gonna look at him and be like,
What?
"What the fuck? That means you need to stay here." He wanted me to take 2 trips, Greg. Absolutely.
Okay,
ins-
yeah. Mike,
This company- this
I
company's
guarantee
a fucking
you that
shambles.
I guarantee you though that Mike was all about it. Because like
No.
when I told Mike what I wanted, Mike
got
was like,
you,
oh, yeah,
homie.
I got you,
I got you,
bro.
homie.
I got you.
But that's because he's just trying not to freak you out. You know?
yeah,
He's-
yeah.
He's fronting
But like,
all
just
of
be
the
like, I need
stress
some help.
inside.
Just be like, I need some help, and people will help
and
you.
now I find
Nick was the
myself on
last one
both
with
sides
me.
here.
It's unbelievable. It's
Greg is
unbelievable.
right. Y'all should have been there
Should've
earlier.
been on time. Should've been
but
on
then
time. I agree
Also,
with
that.
a
Flash.
homie should have been there for you, Mike.
I
A
gotta
homie
start.
should
If
have been there.
I learned this important lesson.
Yeah.
The next time I go, I gotta dress like fucking Andy on that KFAF, where I can just take off layers and lay it across all the
yeah,
seats.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sitting there with a King's Dominion sweatshirt, like, please,
What
please,
a-
no, everyone.
What a weird one, because every single movie we've seen at this theater, they let him go upstairs where the press normally sits. It's calm, it's easy, there's no problems. This one, oh no, you gotta get down in here with just the normal.
There were still
riprap.
reserved seats.
Yeah, but that's whack. Just let us sit up top.
If we were up top, the same people who took the reserved seats you weren't there would be taking
Hey,
those seats.
hey,
now I'd be
every
spread out
time
over all
we
these
stand-
tables, apparently,
Every
going, hey, blah, 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 don't come. My friends are coming eventually.
Let's get back into the super chats because we're hanging out with all of you. CJ
hate
writes
working
in and says, anyone on the panel
Bear.
play the Final Fantasy 16 demo? Any thoughts?
I played a bit.
liked
It's
them.
fun. Combat's really good. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
really nice.
I'm not gotten to it now.
Is that just a simple demo on the PlayStation?
Yep,
Okay.
anywhere.
Okay.
Or
check
no,
it out.
yeah, well, anywhere in PlayStation.
Are you? I'm
How
not.
much are you actually playing? I hear it's a lot of story.
It's a lot of story. Yeah.
A lot of story.
I'm
Okay.
increasingly becoming less of a demo person.
Well, especially in the industry.
Yeah, because we used to be previews, and it's like,
Hey, play 5 hours of this, and then play it again.
and I
No,
don't, yeah,
fuck
that's the thing
no,
is, I don't
please,
want to
no.
play the same thing over again that I just played, unless like the save transfers or whatever, which I like that that's becoming more and more of a trend. And I don't know if Final Fantasy 16 does that.
I don't know either, actually.
Yeah, I'm not super into.
But the save does carry over, they say.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Okay, well then. Oh,
There you go. Maybe a little something different for you.
but yeah, for a lot of the time, I don't love it. Liza P though, I'm gonna do it.
I did discover with Liza P that I was like, man, I wish I didn't play so much of this demo.
Yeah.
Like I should have just played enough to know that I was like in with the gameplay,
Hmm.
but I put in like 3-4 hours, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta do all this again when
Yeah.
we get the game.
Shout out right there to Chief Chaos over on the Twitch
Chief
side of thing,
Chaos.
who says that's an epic Greg rant. Thank you so much, Chief Chaos, for supporting us. and
Happy to be
using
here
that
getting
stuff.
fired up.
Riot goes woof.
A fourth water
Says,
has
wait,
spilled."
Mike's in shorts. They look really colorful. I want to see the style. I mean, I'm always in shorts, hanging out, showing off the yams. These are some, I don't know, what is 6 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch? I don't know. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just short shorts. That's all you need to know. They're colorful. They're easy.
You rock them.
On to the next one. Panda Brigade writes in and says, which celebrity would voice your internal monologue a la, never have I ever, shout out to Kind of Funny Best Friends. That's you, Bless, right? That's your
Oh,
show, the Never Have I
Yeah.
Ever.
So Davey has like an internal monologue
Okay,
voiced
okay.
by, I forget his name, but like a celebrity. I don't know actually. I can see it being
John Hamm.
Oh,
that's a good
John
one.
Hamm would be yours.
Yep. Fellow Mizzou man.
Don
John
Cheadle.
Hamm. Oh, Don Cheadle. Nice.
Yeah.
Those are really good choices right there.
Thank you.
What about
Or
you,
maybe
Mike?
Michael
What do you
Cera,
got,
if
Mike?
I'm being real.
Do your impression.
Hey man. I'm Michael. I'm Michael.
Good. That's good.
Okay, that's close. That's close.
Yeah, that's him.
Mine would be Charlie Day.
Ah,
I like that guy. That'd be fun. That'd be light. You know what I mean? Keep it easy. Yeah, he's. Kevin B writes in and says, "Did any of y'all check out the Final Fantasy demo? It was amazing. Oh my gosh, we got people writing in about
People
Final
love Final Fantasy, man.
They're very jazzed up about it. Well, hey,
Chat,
there
what
you
are
go.
what are the streets saying about the Final Fantasy 16 demo? Is everybody loving it?
What's the street say?
What are
Chat?
the
What's
streets
it
saying?
say? Let's go on over to Sid Harth writes in and says, Armored Core looks so damn good. I'm feeling a lot of bullet hell energy to some Returnal kind of moments. And looking at it, 3D movement combat game coming from the Sekiro director sends shivers down my spine, and I love it. Does it feel like that, Bless?
Well, I mean,
Pretty much, I'm
can't-
amped up and excited.
I couldn't tell you if it feels like that, right? That we didn't get our hands on the game, but like I'm watching the combat. I'm excited for it, right? Like again, it was fun, or it was fast, it was swift. You know, like seeing the like the moment to moment gameplay. It seems like something you're gonna have to like really be into and pay attention to, and really like get that reaction time right. The big thing is, you know, how is the customization stuff going to reflect gameplay? Is that going to be the bulk of the game? Is it going to be tweaking? Is it going to be doing all that? I'm down for that, but you know, I think that is going to take away from the idea of it being like a Sekiro type experience, right? Because Sekiro was all execution. Sekiro was all, hey, how accurate can I get these parries? How fast is my reaction time? Armored Core seems more so about the preparation leading up to that.
Cool. And so you spoke about that from SGF.
Yeah, like the SGF in the
Did
theater.
you tell them that you went?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. We went together. It was a fun time. Thanks
Sean
for
was there
having
too. Our
us.
friend Sean was
It
there.
was super dope. It was awesome watching it. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to check it out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's gonna be cool.
Also, John McEnroe, the tennis player, is the internal dialogue for Davey.
Oh, John McEnroe.
Okay. I like that. That's pretty
He
cool.
gets angry.
He does.
Does he really?
Does
Is he?
that-
Wait, was
that
he the
was-
guy that like smashed his tennis
Yeah, he
racket
did
a billion
stuff
times?
like that. Yeah,
I love
yeah.
watching
He was the
that.
bad boy at tennis. They said.
I would want Lou Reed to narrate in, my internal.
Who's
dialogue.
Lou Reed? I don't know Lou Reed.
Lou Reed is Velvet Underground.
They make music, I think.
Oh, okay.
Nailed it.
Brain13 writes in and says, "Hey, Greg, that rant was nice. Still rejected my college class interview in 2014, though. 0 out of 10. Mikey, bless, you're beautiful.
And did they do your fucking interviews ever? You know?
We're always available. I'm one Twitter DM that I'll never read away."
I was gonna say, I think I turned somebody down last month.
It's just these fucking kids come here and do like, well, you know what? Pay me. You know?
Pay the man. Pay the man.
You can spend all this money on school. You can't fucking pay me to come talk.
I don't know how that's supposed to work.
There it is.
They're paying for college.
You want the college interview, you know who to call. Call him Greg. You got to pay him, though. Chat, it is awesome to hang out with all of you. We are happy to be back and in the flow. Everybody's feeling well rested, looking good, feeling good as we head towards the rest of the week. We have a lot of fun things coming down the way. Of course, tonight, myself and Nick will join James and Elyse on the virtual couch for another 80s action movie watch along. Tonight, we are watching Total Recall for my first ever time. It will be Arnold Schwarzenegger #2 for us, which I'm very excited because, of course, we watched The Running Man with the big guy. So I'm very excited to see his acting chops continue to evolve. And I'm, of course, hoping all of you will tune in. That will be at 7 p.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. So be there for that one if you're enjoying it. And then, of course, later on in the week, on Friday, we'll have our big Zelda stream. You don't want to miss out on that one. If you liked the Star Wars stream just a couple of weeks ago, we're going to do that, but in the world of Zelda with Nick's first ever playthrough. So it should be a really, really good time. Of course, there's a lot of great content up right now. All of the live reactions to all of the summer showcases, along with post shows, are now available on YouTube, podcast services, anywhere you want to consume it. Please go check it out. It's been a great week. We're happy to be back and happy to be having some fun with all of you. Of course, today we're going to be kicking it to the lab to play some Valheim in just a couple of moments. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to our Kind of Funny Games Daily Post Show. We'll be back with this tomorrow at 10 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time. But until then, if you're watching live on Twitch, you don't got to go anywhere. Just hang tight. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, there will be a brand new link available for you to come and join us in the fun of Valheim. Until then, goodbye.